For the British Grand Prix, we risked rain from the beginning to the end of the race weekend. What about the tyre allocation in case of rainy conditions over the entire weekend?
It was certainly a very wet British Grand Prix, there's no doubts about that, and the fans of course suffered heavily with the surrounding parking being underwater, and Britain having had the worst wet weather in June for 100 years, you know, the ground was very, very full of water, and it meant that anything that was going on the track was also struggling to drain away. So that meant that there was a lot of discussion on Friday regarding wet tyre allocations, and people suggesting maybe there weren't enough tyres for the weekend if there was a full rainy weekend. In reality, the rain tyre is nothing like the slick tyres. You know, they last for 60 laps, which is a full Grand Prix, and that meant that with 3 sets you could easily do 3 Grand Prix if you really wanted to. But there's other issues involved. You know, cars don't like going out in the rain because they risk going off and spinning off. And there was so much water on the track, you saw as well some of the cars spinning. So whilst obviously teams would love to have unlimited quantities of tyres, the reality is even with unlimited quantities of tyres, you would still limit the amount of running in the rain, because there's not a lot much you can gain from just going round and round in the rain, because the car is obviously limited in what it can do in terms of performance, and it comes down a lot to as well the driver. So if it was full rain, we could have easily done a rain weekend. The intermediate actually is the tyre that's the one you would want to look after well, because that's the tyre that gets consumed, because you've got a drying track, and that gives you a usage of about 20 to 25 laps. It depends of course on how much water is on the track and how quickly parts of the track are drying. So the intermediate tyre was one to manage well, but as we saw, it was no need to have done that, because we had a beautiful sunny Sunday afternoon.
In Silverstone, the rain made the test of new hard impossible. When will the teams have the first touch with it?
Yeah, of course, all that wet weather on Friday, it was actually impossible to test a slick tyre. So unfortunately, we're going to have to take that tyre somewhere else, and we're going to take it to the next race at Hockenheim. And the idea there is it's not ideal Hockenheim for a new hard tyre, but it will allow us to scale it against the other compounds we're taking there, the soft and the medium, so it will have some use to us. In reality, that tyre is destined for use in next year's championship.
Next Grand Prix will take place at a completely new circuit for you, Hockenheim. How did you prepare to this race? How did you collect data, and why did you choose medium and soft tyres on this track?
Hockenheim, we know a little bit from racing there in GT racing and also in GP3. A couple of years ago we were there in the GP3 race. We know it has a risk as well of being similar to Silverstone. We can get a little bit of rain there, so you do have a chance of again another interrupted weekend. Having said that, it's less severe than a track like Silverstone, so the medium and soft compounds will be the most adequate there for a race that we hope will see a little bit of sunshine.